All right, so the last stream didn't go too well. Anyway, so 5 things that you need to know that are very important. First thing is go watch my top UNIX commands tutorial. Know that stuff inside and out. Those are very basic commands. If you're going to be on a, one second. If you're going to be working on a production server, things are very critical, that you don't make any mistakes, you don't cause any problems for the systems. So you want to be sure about what you're doing. So you should be comfortable with the standard UNIX commands. So again, link in description, take a look at my tutorial that goes over the common commands. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that, and this is kind of connected to number 1, but never, ever, ever run anything on a production server that you're not 100% sure about. If you're running something and you got to know it inside and out, whatever the command is, you're piping one command to the next, inside and out, left or right, you need to be 100% comfortable and confident in what you're doing. Generally speaking, it should be something that you've run dozens and dozens of times before, right? To where you got into the comfort level where it's not even a factor in terms of, will this work? Will this not work? Like for example, LS. Anyone that's worked on Unix, you use LS all the time, right? So that's a command that you're going to be able to run, and you're not going to be worried. It's just showing you the directory, right? You know it inside and out. You've used it so many times. You're very familiar. Pretty much everything you run on a production server needs to be on that level, unless you've been given commands at your job that you've been authorized to use. Even then, you should still try to understand what the command is doing. But if there's a standard command that your team is using that, has been authorized for use, then sure, use that. But anything that you have not been taught or shown on your job needs to be something that you're 100% comfortable with, right? Production server, you run a wrong command, take something down, you can cost your employer a lot of money really fast, especially in finance. So make sure you're sure about any of the commands that you're running. Now, on top of that, let's just say there's something that you're fairly comfortable with, but there's some parts of it, maybe you're piping to something else, or you're combining a bunch of commands together. There's some level of complexity that lends you to sort of be a little bit, just a slight feeling of being uneasy. You're not worried. You've done it before. It's not nothing too outside of the box, but you're not 100%. Any little doubt should be addressed. So for number 3, what I recommend is, when in doubt, run it in UAT or dev, right? And it depends on your environment and how you're working, but run it in the least critical environment possible. Ideally, you should have your own environment, which doesn't affect anyone else, which should obviously mirror in the fundamental ways the environment that you're trying to run it on, right? So if you're trying to run, you want to run a command on a production server that is running, let's say CentOS, then you don't want to go and try to run it in another environment that's running Ubuntu, right? That doesn't really serve the purpose. But ideally, you're going to be in an environment where you're going to have a bunch of environments that are, similar, where you have dev, UAT, which will be very similar to, maybe there's a QA environment as well. But you want to find an environment that is as close to production as possible, so that your results there will be valid to production, right? So run it in a lower level environment, someplace that's not as critical, someplace that if there's a problem with your command and it does something bad, you can limit the damage that it can cause. So rather than affecting a production environment, maybe, any of these environments, you're not at home, right? You don't want to mess up UAT or a QA environment, a dev environment. You never know what kind of testing is being run when you're doing that, but much better to mess up a client demo than to cost the client a couple $1 million, right? So Better safe than sorry. Run it in a lower environment. So the other thing is, I would say, I'll give you a trick that I use a lot. When you're running commands in Linux, you're an enter key away from joy or chaos. That's all it takes. Depends on the account you're running it under, right? If you're running under root or an account that has a lot of permissions, all it takes is hitting that enter key for chaos to begin. And you have to consider the potential of doing that by accident, right? You pressed enter before you wanted to, or just by accident somehow, right? Most keyboards, you have two enter keys. You got one that's in the corner by the keypad, easy to sort of tap that. Maybe you moved your hand and grab the phone or something, or otherwise even hit the normal enter key. Just moving too quick, you're under stress, and you boom, and then you mess it up. So what I recommend is, I'll show you this trick that I use. Let me share my screen real quick. This is something I do all the time to avoid the exact type of scenarios that I'm talking about. It's real simple, real simple to do. One keystroke can save you from a nightmare. So here you are running a command called delete all files on the drive. Now what you can do here is, obviously not a real command, but anyway, that's it. Comment it out. Boom, does nothing, right? Doesn't matter what you're typing in, kill -9 star, right? Doesn't matter. The idea is, and this is, let me just show you the full process. So I want to type a command. I want to be super safe, and this is what I do in general, even if it's something that I'm comfortable with. Just as an extra step of security, I will start composing the command with the pound, right? And I go kill -9, blah, 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 pipe it to whatever, and then pipe it to whatever. And then all of a sudden I hit enter by accident. Oh, no big deal, right? It's commented out. It's not going to do anything, right? So I finish my command and get it to the point where it looks good. I'm confident in what I'm doing here. Then at that point, I just Control-A to the beginning of the line, backspace, and one last double check, and enter. Boom. There you go. So let me stop sharing. So that's a trick, again, that I use all the time. I highly recommend that you use it as well. It can save you from a lot of trouble. As far as number 5, well, you're going to have to subscribe to find out what that is. This is the Computer Programming University, where learning is fun as it should be. And be safe out there. Don't mess around those production servers. One wrong keystroke, and it's all over. It's all over, guys. All the hard work you put in, it's kind of irrelevant when you've cost the client $10 million. Or whatever you cost them, right? Maybe it's a top client for the firm. So it's not about a particular trade that got messed up, but lost business. You screw up enough, a client can pull the plug, and that can be millions and millions of dollars that you cost your employer. So Indeed.com. All right, guys. This is Computer Programming University, and until next episode, everyone be good. Shout out to my top subscribers: Igor, Naraz, Nick, MJ Shahid, CKKO. Whoa. All right, let me go get my salad and then get back to it. Boom.